Have you ever felt like your goals are just out of reach? Like no matter how hard you try, you're stuck in the same place, spinning your wheels? What if I told you there's a simple trick, a small shift in how you approach your goals that could completely transform your results? Today, I'm going to share with you a powerful yet straightforward strategy that will help you elevate your goals, achieve more than you thought possible, and do it with less stress and more joy. Whether you're aiming for personal growth, professional success, or simply a better version of yourself, this trick will be your game changer. Let's dive in. Let's start with the first key point, the power of micro goals. When we think about our biggest dreams and aspirations, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Whether it's starting a business, writing a book, getting in shape, or learning a new skill, the sheer size of the goal can paralyze us before we even begin. We get stuck in the how and the when. And before we know it, we've talked ourselves out of taking the first step. But here's the thing, big goals don't have to be tackled all at once. In fact, they shouldn't be. The secret lies in breaking them down into smaller, bite-sized pieces, micro goals. Micro goals are like stepping stones. They take that massive, intimidating mountain and turn it into a series of small, manageable hills. Instead of saying, I need to lose 50 pounds, you focus on losing 1 pound this week. Instead of thinking, I have to write a 300-page book, you commit to writing just 200 words today. These tiny steps might seem insignificant at first, but they add up. And more importantly, they keep you moving forward. Every small win builds momentum, and momentum is what keeps you going when motivation wanes. Think about it this way. When you set a micro goal, you're not just making progress. You're also training your brain to believe in your ability to succeed. Each time you achieve one of these small milestones, you're sending a message to yourself. I can do this. Over time, this confidence grows, and what once felt impossible starts to feel within reach. It's like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. But here's the best part. Micro goals also make it easier to stay consistent. Consistency is the secret sauce of success. It's not about doing something perfectly or all at once. It's about showing up day after day and making steady progress. When your goals are small and achievable, you're far more likely to stick with them. You're not waiting for the perfect moment or the right conditions. You're taking action now in the moment, and that's where real change happens. So the next time you find yourself staring at a goal that feels too big to tackle, remember this. Break it down. Take that first small step, no matter how tiny it seems, because every journey, no matter how long, begins with a single step. And those steps, when taken consistently, will lead you to places you never thought possible. Now let's talk about the 1% rule, a concept that might sound simple, but has the power to completely transform how you approach your goals. The idea is this: instead of trying to make massive leaps overnight, focus on improving by just 1% every single day. It might not sound like much, but over time, these small incremental changes compound into something extraordinary. Think of it like planting a seed. You water it a little each day, and while you might not see growth immediately, over weeks and months, that seed grows into a strong, thriving tree. The same principle applies to your goals. The beauty of the 1% rule is that it takes the pressure off. So often, we set these lofty, ambitious goals and then beat ourselves up when we don't achieve them right away. We expect instant results, and when they don't come, we get discouraged and give up. But here's the truth. Real lasting change doesn't happen overnight. It happens gradually, through small, consistent actions. When you commit to improving by just 1% each day, you're not only setting yourself up for success, you're also building a sustainable habit that will carry you forward. Let's break it down with an example. Say you want to get better at public speaking. Instead of trying to deliver a flawless TED Talk right out of the gate, you start small. Maybe today you practice speaking in front of a mirror for 5 minutes. Tomorrow, you record yourself and watch it back to identify areas for improvement. The next day, you practice in front of a friend or family member. Each day, you're making a tiny improvement, 1% better than the day before. Over time, those small improvements add up. What started as a shaky 5-minute practice session turns into confident, compelling presentations. The 1% rule also helps you stay focused on the process rather than the outcome. When you're only thinking about the end result, it's easy to get overwhelmed or discouraged. But when you shift your focus to the daily 1% improvement, you're able to stay present and engaged. You're not worried about how far you have to go. You're just focused on taking that next small step. And before you know it, those steps have carried you further than you ever imagined. But here's the key. Consistency is everything. The 1% rule only works if you stick with it. It's not about being perfect or making huge strides every day. It's about showing up even when it's hard and committing to that small improvement. Some days your 1% might feel like a struggle, and that's okay. Progress isn't always linear. What matters is that you keep going. So as you think about your goals, ask yourself, what's one small thing I can do today to be 1% better than I was yesterday? It can be reading a few pages of a book, practicing a new skill for 10 minutes, or even just reflecting on what went well and what you can improve. Remember, it's not about the size of the step, it's about the direction you're heading. And with the 1% rule, you're always moving forward, one small step at a time. Now let's dive into the power of visualization. A tool that might seem simple, but can have a profound impact on how you achieve your goals. Visualization is more than just daydreaming or wishful thinking. It's a deliberate practice of imagining yourself succeeding in vivid detail. When you visualize, you're not just picturing the end result, you're experiencing it in your mind as if it's already happening. This mental rehearsal primes your brain for success, making your goals feel more tangible and achievable. Think about it this way. Your brain doesn't always distinguish between what's real and what's imagined. When you visualize yourself achieving a goal, whether it's acing a presentation, running a marathon, or launching a successful project, your brain fires up the same neural pathways as it would if you were actually doing those things. This process builds confidence, reduces anxiety, and helps you develop a clear roadmap for success. It's like giving yourself a sneak peek of the future, and that glimpse can be incredibly motivating. But visualization isn't just about seeing the end result. It's about feeling it too. Close your eyes and imagine yourself standing on stage, delivering a powerful speech. Picture the audience nodding, smiling, and applauding. Feel the confidence in your voice, the steadiness in your hands, and the sense of accomplishment as you finish. The more vivid and detailed your visualization, the more real it becomes to your brain. This emotional connection is what makes visualization so powerful. It turns abstract goals into concrete experiences. Athletes have been using visualization for decades to enhance their performance. Olympic swimmers, for example, often visualize every stroke, turn, and breath of their race before they even dive into the pool. They imagine the feel of the water, the sound of the crowd, and the rush of crossing the finish line. By the time they step onto the starting block, their minds and bodies are already primed for success. The same principle applies to any goal, whether it's personal, professional, or creative. When you visualize, you're training your mind to navigate the path to success before you even take the first step. Visualization also helps you overcome obstacles. When you imagine yourself succeeding, you're not just picturing the best-case scenario, you're also mentally preparing for challenges and setbacks. Think about how you'll handle difficult moments and visualize yourself staying calm, focused, and resilient. This mental preparation builds a sense of readiness and adaptability, so when obstacles arise in real life, you're better equipped to handle them. But here's the key. Visualization works best when paired with action. It's not a substitute for hard work, but rather a complement to it. When you combine the mental rehearsal of visualization with the physical effort of taking consistent steps toward your goals, you create a powerful synergy that accelerates your progress. Visualization keeps you motivated and focused, while action turns your dreams into reality. So take a few minutes each day to close your eyes and visualize your success. See it, feel it, and believe it, because when you can imagine it, you're one step closer to achieving it. Let's talk about the power of accountability, a game changer when it comes to achieving your goals. Accountability is about creating a system of support that keeps you on track, motivated, and committed to your progress. It's easy to set goals when you're feeling inspired, but staying consistent when life gets busy or challenging is where most people struggle. That's where accountability comes in. When you share your goals with someone else, a friend, a mentor, a coach, or even a group, you're no longer just answering to yourself. You're answering to someone who cares about your success and is invested in helping you achieve it. Think about it. How many times have you set a goal for yourself only to let it slide when no one was watching? Maybe you told yourself you'd start exercising, but when the alarm went off at 6 a.m., you hit snooze and went back to sleep. Or perhaps you planned to work on a side project, but after a long day, you convinced yourself it could wait. We've all been there. But when you have someone holding you accountable, it changes the dynamic. Suddenly, there's an external force nudging you to follow through. It's not just about letting yourself down anymore, it's about letting someone else down too. And that can be a powerful motivator. Accountability also provides clarity and structure. When you share your goals with someone, you're forced to articulate them clearly. You have to define what success looks like, set deadlines, and break your goals into actionable steps. This process alone can help you refine your approach and identify potential roadblocks. Plus, when you know you'll be reporting your progress to someone else, you're more likely to stay focused and organized. It's like having a built-in reminder system that keeps you on track. But accountability isn't just about pressure, it's also about support. When you have someone cheering you on, celebrating your wins, and offering encouragement during tough times, it makes the journey feel less lonely. Whether it's a workout buddy who texts you to make sure you're hitting the gym, or a mentor who checks in on your career goals, having someone in your corner can make all the difference. They can offer advice, share their own experiences, and help you see things from a fresh perspective. Sometimes just knowing that someone believes in you can give you the boost you need to keep going. And let's not forget the power of group accountability. Joining a community or group with similar goals can be incredibly motivating. Whether it's a mastermind group, a fitness class, or an online forum, being part of a collective effort creates a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose. You're not just working toward your own success, you're contributing to the success of the group. This sense of belonging can be a powerful driver of consistency and commitment. So, if you're serious about achieving your goals, don't go it alone. Find someone or a group of people who can hold you accountable. Share your goals, set regular check-ins, and be open to feedback and encouragement, because when you have someone in your corner, you're not just more likely to succeed, you're also more likely to enjoy the journey, and that's what truly matters. Let's talk about the importance of celebrating small wins, a practice that might seem trivial but can have a huge impact on your motivation and momentum. When we set big, ambitious goals, it's easy to get so focused on the end result that we overlook the progress we're making along the way. We tell ourselves, I'll celebrate when I reach the finish line. But the truth is, The finish line can feel far away, and waiting too long to acknowledge your progress can lead to burnout or discouragement. That's why celebrating small wins is so powerful. It keeps you motivated, reinforces positive behavior, and reminds you that you're moving forward even if it's one step at a time. Think about it. Every big goal is made up of smaller milestones. If your goal is to run a marathon, your small wins might include running your first mile without stopping, completing a 5K, or sticking to your training schedule for a full week. If your goal is to write a book, your small wins could be finishing a chapter, hitting a daily word count, or even just sitting down to write when you didn't feel like it. These moments might not seem like much on their own, but they're the building blocks of your success. And when you take the time to celebrate them, you're sending a powerful message to yourself. I'm making progress and I'm proud of it. Celebrating small wins also helps you stay positive and motivated. Let's face it, working toward a big goal can be hard. There will be days when you feel like you're not getting anywhere, when the finish line feels impossibly far away, and when you're tempted to give up. But when you've been celebrating your small wins along the way, you have a reservoir of positive experiences to draw from. You can look back and say, hey, I've already come this far. I've already achieved X, Y, and Z. I can keep going. It's like giving yourself a pat on the back, and that little boost of encouragement can make all the difference. But how do you celebrate small wins in a meaningful way? It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It could be as simple as taking a moment to acknowledge your progress, treating yourself to something you enjoy, or sharing your win with someone who supports you. Maybe you write it down in a journal, post about it on social media, or give yourself a mental high five. The key is to make it intentional. Don't just brush past your small wins. Pause, reflect, and let yourself feel proud, because every win, no matter how small, is proof that you're moving in the right direction. And here's the best part. Celebrating small wins creates a positive feedback loop. When you acknowledge your progress, you're more likely to stay motivated and keep going. That motivation leads to more action, which leads to more wins, which leads to more celebration. It's a cycle of positivity that fuels your momentum and keeps you moving forward. So as you work toward your goals, don't wait for the big dramatic moments to celebrate. Take the time to recognize and appreciate the small wins along the way, because every step forward is worth celebrating, and those small wins are what will ultimately carry you to the finish line. Now let's talk about the trick that ties everything together: habit stacking. This is a simple yet incredibly effective strategy for integrating new goals into your daily life without feeling overwhelmed. The idea is to pair a new habit or goal with something you already do consistent. By linking the new behavior to an existing routine, you create a seamless connection that makes it easier to stick with over time. It's like piggybacking on the habits you already have, and it's one of the most powerful ways to make progress without relying solely on willpower. Think about your daily routine for a moment. There are probably things you do every single day without even thinking about them. Brushing your teeth, making coffee, checking your phone, or commuting to work. These are habits that are already deeply ingrained in your life. Habit stacking works by attaching a new goal to one of these existing habits. For example, if you want to start meditating, you could do it right after you brush your teeth in the morning. If you want to read more, you could read a few pages while you drink your coffee. By tying the new behavior to something you already do, you're more likely to remember it and follow through. The beauty of habit stacking is that it removes the friction of starting something new. One of the biggest challenges with forming new habits is figuring out when and how to fit them into your day. When you stack a new habit onto an existing one, you don't have to think about it as much. It just becomes part of the flow. Over time, the new behavior becomes automatic, just like the habit it's stacked onto. And because you're building on something you already do consistently, you're setting yourself up for long-term success. Let's break it down with an example. Say you want to start journaling to reflect on your day and set intentions for the next one. You could stack this new habit onto your nighttime routine. After you brush your teeth at night, you sit down and write for 5 minutes. At first, it might feel a little awkward or forced, but over time, it becomes a natural part of your evening. The act of brushing your teeth becomes the cue that reminds you to journal, and before you know it, you've created a new habit that supports your goals. Habit stacking also works well for small, incremental changes. If your goal is to drink more water, you could stack it onto your existing habits by drinking a glass of water every time you finish a meal. If you want to improve your posture, you could practice sitting up straight every time you check your email. These small, consistent actions might seem insignificant on their own, but over time they add up to big results. The key to successful habit stacking is to start small and be consistent. Don't try to stack too many new habits onto one existing habit at once. That can feel overwhelming and defeat the purpose. Instead, focus on one new behavior at a time and give yourself time to let it become automatic. Once it feels like a natural part of your routine, you can add another. So as you think about your goals, ask yourself, what's one small habit I can stack onto something I already do every day? By making this simple shift, you'll find it easier to integrate new behaviors into your life and make steady progress toward your goals. And that's the trick that can elevate everything you do. Elevating your goals doesn't have to be complicated or overwhelming. It's about taking small, intentional steps that add up over time. Break your big goals into micro goals to make them manageable. Commit to improving by just 1% every day and watch how those tiny gains compound into something extraordinary. Use visualization to see and feel your success before it happens, and lean on accountability to keep you on track. Celebrate every small win along the way, because progress, no matter how small, is worth recognizing. And finally, use the power of habit stacking to seamlessly integrate new behaviors into your daily life. Remember, the journey to achieving your goals isn't about perfection or overnight success. It's about consistency, persistence, and believing in your ability to grow. So start small, stay focused, and trust the process. Because when you combine these simple strategies, you'll not only elevate your goals, you'll elevate your entire life. Thank you.